morning. I'm going to move this up just a little bit. I'd like to start out by saying thank you for inviting me here today to present on the problem of school bullying. I'll be giving a prevalence overview, a topic that is actually dear to me as a researcher, as an educator, as well as a mother of 2 children. I am a sociologist and have been working with crime data for 7 years. Next to doing or conducting my own research with my colleagues on bullying, cyberbullying, and bullying laws, I am co-author of the Indicators of School Crime and Safety Report, which is a joint publication by the National Center for Education Statistics and the Bureau of Justice Statistics. And I'm lucky to have an area of crime data to work with, and a variety of different data sources, some of which are included in today's presentation. So I'd like to start out with a quick definition of what bullying is. It's the repeated and intentional exposure of an individual and group to physical and/or emotional aggression of various sorts, in which there's a power differential between the aggressor and the victim, and it varies across cultures, language groups, and individual characteristics such as age and gender. Key terms to note here are the repeated intentional exposure in which there's a power differential. There's 2 types of bullying. The first type is the physical, verbal, relational, social type of bullying, which is probably what we think of first when we hear bullying. Examples of those would be the pushing, shoving, tripping, hitting, spitting, name calling, spreading rumors, excluding someone from activities on purpose. And the second type would be the bullying through technology and social media, are known as cyberbullying to all of us. And examples of those would be name calling, posting hurtful information about others, spreading rumors, and posting pictures using social media. And you can see that the examples for the types of bullying overlap, so there's some overlap there. Why is school bullying a problem? Bullying and victimization has consistently been linked in research and literature to short-term and long-term negative impacts for the bully and the victim. And the bully victim. A bully victim would be someone who is a victim of bullying him or herself and has, as a means of coping, turned to bullying others. Some of the problems noted are academic problems, psychological difficulties, school-related fear and avoidance behaviors, illness, aggression, weapon carrying, all the way up to suicide attempt or, unfortunately, completed suicide. And the list goes on and on. This is not an exhaustive list of the short and long-term negative impacts that have been identified. Given the social and the cultural setting, some groups have been identified in the literature and research as being more vulnerable than others. Some of those groups are listed here: youth with disabilities and learning difficulties, as well as, again, based on social setting, students with cultural differences, race, ethnicity, sexual orientation, or gender identity, and other minority groups. So diving into the data, this is data from the School Survey on Crime and Safety, also known as the SOCS. The most recent year of data that is available is the 2009-10 school year. The SOCS is going back into the field, which is exciting, but this is what we have to work with as of right now, and we're looking at the percentage of public schools, so this is school-level reported data collected from school principals and administrators, reporting student bullying as a discipline problem at their schools. And here we can see that 23% of public schools reported that student bullying is a discipline problem at their school. 2 things I would like to point out here. The first thing is that at about 39%, middle schools, public middle schools, reported a significantly higher percentage of bullying as a discipline problem at their schools compared to primary, high school, and combined schools. And the second thing to highlight is that also statistically different is the percentage of city schools that reported bullying as a discipline problem at their schools, also higher compared to town and to suburban and rural schools. The difference between city and town schools is not statistically significant. Now, this covers the school level data, and let's take a look at the data that students report using the School Crime Supplement to the National Crime Victimization Survey. Specifically, we're looking at the percentage of students ages 12 through 18 who reported being bullied at school during the school year for 2011. Unfortunately, I am working with the 2013 data right now. The Indicators of School Crime and Safety report, the next edition, is probably going to be released really soon. However, I can't speak to the 2013 data, as some of the data, specifically the School Crime Supplement data, has not been released yet. So 2011 is the most recent year I can report on today. And we can see that 28% of students ages 12 through 18 reported being bullied at school during the school year. Things to note here would be that the percentage of female students who reported being bullied at school during the school year was significantly higher compared to male students. White students reported the highest percentage of being bullied at school during the school year. Asian students reported the lowest percentage. And then something that ties back into the previous slide, looking at middle schools, we can see here also, according to student reports, that lower grades reported higher percentages of being bullied at school. So 6th graders compared to 12th graders, for example, 37% of 6th graders reported being bullied at school compared to 22% of 12th graders. The School Crime Supplement also collects data on the bullying problems that are identified by students, and the things to note here are that the top 3 bullying problems noted by students ages 12 through 18 would be being made fun of, called names, or being insulted, as well as being the subject of rumors at about 18%, followed by pushed, shoved, tripped, or spit on at about 8%. And then looking at this through the lens of gender or sex, we can see that a significantly higher percentage of females reported the bullying problem of being made fun of, called names, being insulted, or being the subject of rumors, while in turn, the percentage of females who reported being pushed, shoved, tripped, or spit on was significantly lower compared with males. So we see a little bit more of the physical stuff going on among males and a little bit more of the emotional bullying stuff going on among females. Also noteworthy is that the percentage of females who reported being excluded from activities on purpose was also significantly higher compared to males. One of the things that I have seen in more recent years is an increased interest in state level and district level data. So what's going on in our specific neighborhood, in our specific area and our state. And the Youth Risk Behavior Survey, which is also a survey included in our report, does a pretty good job at collecting data at the state level. We're looking here specifically at data collected of students in grades 9 through 12 in 2013. So this data has already been released. And what I'm highlighting in this slide is we have the United States in the center with an average of about 20% of students in grades 9 through 12 who reported being bullied on school property during the previous 12 months. And then to the left of that, we see the 5 states with the lowest percentages reported, and on the right of that, we see the percentages with the highest percentages reported, ranging from about 16 through 26%. 2 things I would like to caution about is that, first of all, 2 states out of all the states that reported in 2013 submitted data of public and private schools. So the United States average here includes public and private schools. And I would also like to note that a few states that are listed here in the note did not participate or provide any data at all, but it still gives us a pretty good picture of what is going on. So considering that I only have 8 minutes, this is about as much information as I can sum up. We really only just scratched the surface of what's going on. What I would like to note is I purposefully did not include information about trends over time. In the analysis that I have run as co-author of the Indicators of School Crime and Safety report using the School Crime Supplement data, between 2005 and 2011, while we have seen fluctuations, and it was in Bill's previous slide as well, in the percentages slightly, there has not been a linear trend over time in the data at this point. We shall see what the 2013 data has to say. Certainly we need more data. Surveys have gotten much better and much more refined in adding definitions for students, but there's still surveys out there that have terminology in them like bullying, like at school and on school property, terminology that is not defined in some instances for students or not defined the same way across surveys. Some more survey item assessment and survey item development needs to be done, but compiling or combining school-level reported data with student-level reported data, and maybe even tying in some administrative record data about expulsions and suspensions related to the reasons for expulsions and suspensions, gives us a pretty good picture of what is going on in our schools in terms of bullying. So that's it from me. My contact information is there. I'll be happy to answer questions during the QA, I believe, later, or also via email or telephone at any point in time. And with that, I will hand over to a colleague of mine, and I would like to introduce Samir Hinduja from Florida Atlantic University. Thank you.